Alright, so today we would be talking about heredity. So when you talk about heredity, there are a lot of questions that they often come into your mind, and you really want to know the answers for probably all of them. So if not all, we would be considering or we would be talking about certain things today, and I'm sure that they will eventually prove to be good to us. So today we would be talking about certain things here, and let's just then start. Okay, so today we would be talking about Gregor John Mendel and his great work. Well, he's a scientist who is known as the father of genetics, and he's the one who unearthed the secrets of heredity. So he gets all the credit for that. And he conducted his experiments on garden pea, which is whose scientific name is Pisum sativum. So this is how garden pea looks like. But the most important thing is that we need to know that why did he select garden pea plant for his experiment? So reasons for selecting garden pea plant. Well, if we talk about garden pea, so it has a flower which is bisexual, which means it has both the male and female sex organs. So they always do self-pollination, which means they always retain their natural set of genes. Well, most of the times though. And that is why we say that pure varieties of pea plants were available to him. So it was easy for him to start his experiments. Next important trait here is that clearly visible physically contrasting traits were available, which means for Mendel there was no need for him to get into the genes and other things and details. Whatever you see physically, that is an evidence, you can use it, and that's how he conducted his research. So some of the physically contrasting features which were available or which are still there and which he used are pea plants were either tall or dwarf, which means either they had a tall height or they were short in their height. Some of the varieties they used to produce seeds which were round in color, and the other ones they are going to produce seeds which were wrinkled in shape. So sorry, round in shape, not in color, and wrinkled in shape. Some of the varieties they always grew flowers which were purple in color, and some of them they always grew flowers which were white in color. So these are some of the things which could capture the attention of Mendel, and that is why he could start his work. So now we shall continue with the chapter, and we shall get to see that what exactly are the things that he considered, and how exactly the experiment progressed. So let's just start. So there are certain points that we need to remember before we start with the chapter. So we shall just start with them now. So now we see our points to remember here. So first thing that we all need to know is we have chromosomes in pair. Now when chromosomes are in pair, which means each one has its partner with it, we call this situation as diploid. Di means two, so they are in pair. So one of this is maternal and the other one is paternal. Now maybe we have gotten one gene from the father. The same type of gene we are going to get it from the mother. Mother and father. Yeah, mother and papa. Okay, mother and father. Now what happens is that these two genes, they together are supposed to control one character in my body. So for every particular character and trait, we have two genes responsible. Maybe more than that, but here we'll say only two genes are responsible. So we have learned this in our previous chapter, and I'll just do a quick recap of it. Let's assume that there is this organism and total number of chromosomes that this organism has is 4. Now during sexual reproduction, these are going to break, and let's just color them a bit so that we can enhance our understanding. So we have this, and the other one is also like this. Okay, so these two split apart, and when gametes, when they come into existence, so we get one chromosome of the both types, which is this. And the other one would also be like this. Now gametes are always haploid in nature, which means they're always carrying half the genetic information, but they will carry a copy of each of the chromosome that the parent had. Now let's assume this was happening in the case of father. The same case will happen in the case of mother. So let's just say this one came from a father, maybe a sperm cell, and this is an egg cell. When they both fuse, they are going to produce a zygote. So this zygote, when it comes into the existence, we say that the zygote is again, sorry for that shape. The zygote has become diploid again. So we are able to restore the natural number of chromosomes in the zygote. True. So whatever is the number of chromosomes we have in our normal cell, we are going to divide it into half, and we will put that into our gametes. Now this is something that you need to keep in our mind. So let's just move ahead with the chapter. So now we again continue with this, and there are certain terms that we are going to discuss now. Genotype, phenotype, allele, homozygous, heterozygous, dominant, and recessive. So when you talk about this term called as phenotype, phenotype is our physical appearance, the way we look. And genotype means the set of genes that we have. So we can say that our genotype decides our phenotype. Our genes will decide our physical appearance. That's true. And the next term that we have is allele. So when you talk about allele, you say an allele is one of two or more versions or forms of a particular gene. So for an example, let's just say a pair of chromosomes. Now this is the same location, or we call it as loci. And these are the two genes that we're talking about. Now this one is giving eye color, this one is giving eye color. Or let's just change the example. This one is coding for the tall height of the pea plant, and this one is also coding for the tall height of the pea plant. Or we can also say this one is coding for the tall height of the pea plant, and this one is going to code for the dwarf or short height of the pea plant. So we call this thing as an allele. The next term is homozygous. Homozygous means similar type of genes together. Now, why did I make this capital T in capital T here? We are going to talk about height of the plant. Now, there is one plant which is tall in height. Now, height of the plant is one particular character. So we need to have two genes which are responsible for it. So here I'm using the letter capital T for them. Similarly, if the plant is dwarf, I can use these genes, lowercase t and lowercase t for that. So this is again homozygous condition. This is again homozygous condition. Now, what is heterozygous? Heterozygous means this: mixed type of genotype, whereas one gene is giving tall height and the other one is giving dwarf height. So in this case, the gene which is able to decide the height of the plant will be termed as dominant. So we are taking it to be capital T. The plant is going to be tall in height. So the gene which can decide the phenotype in the presence of an alternate gene will be termed as a dominant gene. And now comes the recessive one. The gene which cannot express itself in the presence of an alternate gene is termed as a recessive gene. So if a recessive gene needs to express itself, it needs to be in homozygous condition, always. So a recessive gene cannot express itself in the presence of an alternate gene. Well, I would not say the gene is recessive. I may say, or I should say, the gene which is coding for the height of the plant is recessive for this particular trait. Because one gene can definitely control more than one character in an individual. So maybe it's just recessive for the height. So by far we are aware of the term phenotype, genotype, allele, homozygous, similar genes together, heterozygous, mixed type of genotype, dominant gene which can express itself in the presence of an alternate gene or an alternate gene, recessive gene which can express itself only when it is in this condition, homozygous condition. Good. Okay, so keep watching this area because in the next video we would be talking about a monohybrid cross, and a video after that would be about a dihybrid cross. So keep watching this area because I'll be uploading them soon. Till then, take care and goodbye.